The movie theater had an atmosphere of excitement, with the smell of popcorn filling the dark hallways. On Friday night, I was eager to watch the popular new horror movie that everyone was talking about. Unbeknownst to me, that evening would transform into a terrifying experience that would haunt me deeply for many years. The movie Whispers in the Shadows had a complex story and a main character who brought a new meaning to the term psycho. I sat down in my seat, feeling the cushion creak as the opening credits started. The theater was silent with anticipation as everyone eagerly awaited the scary and thrilling parts of the movie. The screen's flickering light creates shadows on the audience's faces, increasing the suspense. I saw a man a few rows ahead while watching the movie, when it was halfway through and the tension was at its highest. He was completely engrossed in the movie, unable to take his eyes off the screen. I didn't think there was anything strange, just someone who enjoys horror. However, the situation became ominous, in a horrifying manner. The main character in the film murdered 2 innocent women during a rampage. Despite the gasps and nervous laughter throughout the theater, the man in front of me remained unfazed. He continued to stare at the screen with a cold and intense look in his eyes. As the horror on the screen played out, the man suddenly got up and started walking up and down the aisle. I had a persistent feeling that something was not right. He moved unpredictably and appeared disconnected from the real world. I looked at the people nearby with concern, but everyone was so focused on the movie that they didn't realize the possible threat among us. I felt a strong urge to take action and tell someone, but fear stopped me from doing so. The man in front of me stopped walking back and forth and looked away from the screen, making eye contact with 2 women who were unaware a bit further away. The incident resembled a movie moment, but on this occasion, it was real, not imaginary. As the man approached the women in the theater, the atmosphere became tense and his lips formed a disturbing smile. My chest filled with panic, and I quickly reached for my phone to call 911. The women looked at one another, their laughter disappearing when they realized that the man had harmful intentions. Within seconds, the theater's atmosphere transformed rapidly from joy to fear. The man made a sudden move towards the women, causing a scene of disorder. People rushed to get away from the theater, their screams filling the air. I experienced a rush of energy, triggering my instinct to either fight or run away. I dialed 911 with trembling hands, watching the scary situation unravel. The security guards quickly entered the theater, trying to control the mentally unstable man. The frightened women successfully escaped from his reach and joined the panicked crowd of people running away from the theater for safety. The man defied the security guards, his face twisted with madness. He acted like he thought he was in the horror movie we were all watching. The police came quickly, their sirens piercing the darkness. The man was caught, and he fought fiercely against those holding him. His eyes locked with mine for a moment as he was taken away in handcuffs. The chilling gaze blurred the line between fiction and reality, causing shivers to run down my spine. Police officers took statements from shaken witnesses in the transformed theater lobby, now functioning as a makeshift command center. The news crews came promptly, excited to record the shocking story that became real. I remained seated, trying to comprehend the unbelievable things that had just happened in front of me. Afterwards, the seriousness of the situation became clear. I never imagined that the distinction between entertainment and danger could become so unclear. The scary movie, originally intended as an exciting getaway, turned into a disturbing trigger for a real-life bad experience. While the police were taking the man away, I couldn't help but think about what made him imitate the terrible acts shown in the movies. Was he emotionally unstable, or did the movie awaken something darker inside him? The question stayed in my mind even after everyone left the theater. Finally, the man was arrested, while the 2 women he focused on managed to get away without harm. This was a frightening reminder that sometimes reality can be scarier than anything shown in movies. Leaving the theater that night, I couldn't ignore the lingering sense that the dark shapes created by the movie had influenced how I viewed scary things. We walked into the movie theater as the sign glowed dimly above us, accompanied by my two kids, Timmy and Lily. The atmosphere was cool and dark. With anticipation, we walked to our seats for the newest horror movie, surrounded by the aroma of popcorn. Timmy, the youngest, was excitedly looking forward to it, while Lily, the teenager, reluctantly agreed to come along with us, even though she often rolls her eyes. As we sat down, the preview started on the large screen while the theater filled with a combination of anticipation and anxiety. The screen's flickering light created spooky shadows on the faces of other audience members. Once the movie started, I found myself completely absorbed in the tense atmosphere, with us nervously chewing on popcorn. Around the middle of the movie, I observed a man sitting uncomfortably near Timmy. I felt a chill go through my body as he couldn't take his eyes off my son. He seemed eerie, like a character from a horror movie we were watching. He had oily hair sticking to his forehead, and his eyes moved quickly around the theater like he was looking for something. I gave him a firm gaze, hoping he would understand that he needed to move away. Instead of averting his gaze, he directed his attention towards Timmy while wearing a disturbing smile. "Hey there, little guy." In a hushed whisper, he asked, "Are you a fan of horror movies?" I felt chills as his voice resonated. Nervously, Timmy nodded as an innocent kid would. Feeling uncomfortable with the man's focus on me, I chose to voice my concerns. "Excuse me, can you please stay out of my space?" I proclaimed firmly that we had come to enjoy the movie. The man's smile turned into an angry expression, and he looked directly at me with intense eyes in the dark. "Why don't you focus on your own matters?" I'm simply attempting to engage in a friendly conversation with the child. My blood turned icy as I tightened my hold on the armrest. I quickly looked at Lily, who was completely focused on the movie and didn't notice the uncomfortable situation happening next to her. I cautioned, requesting privacy and attempting to remain calm. However, the man was not pleased with my request. Muttering quietly, his gaze remained fixed on Timmy. I had a strong sense that something was seriously amiss, that I couldn't get rid of it. Feeling anxious, I made the decision to leave because it was overwhelming. When I got up to guide my children out, the man suddenly erupted. He raised his voice from a whisper to a shout, getting the attention of people nearby, as if saying, "Do you think you're superior to me?" I attempted to avoid him by quickly taking Timmy's hand and telling Lily to come along. However, the man was determined to prevent our escape. Rapidly rising from his chair, he obstructed our way. He panicked and quickly moved towards Timmy, reaching out his hand. Without thinking, I placed myself in front of my son, protecting him from the danger that was coming closer. I yelled, feeling a rush of adrenaline, telling them to stay away. The man had a crazy look in his eyes and released a primal scream. The rest of the audience was now looking, and some were shocked by what was happening. Filled with fear, I mustered up strength and forcefully led Timmy and Lily through the crowd. The man chased after, yelling offensive words and making claims. The theater manager arrived to calm down the situation, but the man refused to give up. The cold night air greeted us with a refreshing jolt as we rushed out of the exit doors. I quickly guided my children to the safety of our car, taking a quick look to see the man still yelling in the theater entrance area. We left the unsettling encounter behind as our hearts pounded, driving away. I couldn't get rid of the feeling that we narrowly avoided a scary situation, with the man's shouts still echoing in my ears. I kept thinking about the incident for days. I informed the theater management and local authorities about it, but the man appeared to disappear without any evidence. The idea of what might have occurred without my intervention troubled me, causing me to frequently look behind me. We were all affected by the experience for a long time. For several weeks, Timmy experienced nightmares, while Lily started to cautiously look around in crowded areas instead of just rolling her eyes. For a period of time, we opted to watch movies at home, because we preferred the cozy and secure atmosphere of our living room rather than the unsettling darkness of the theater. This served as a clear reminder that horror exists beyond movies and that the true monsters can be found within our daily existence, hidden in the shadows.